Welcome back to the Barebow Project. My name is Frank McDonough. I am just welcoming you to what's coming for 2024 updates. We have a new website, www.thebarebowproject.com. All of your apparel is located there. The link and information for Patreon and the access to the exclusive content is there, as well as coming to Patreon here shortly. Is at the access to the online seminar. So there's an online advanced seminar that comes with coaching and one-on-one as well. So you can look for that, and just realize just completed a training plan episode. That's a Patreon exclusive. That's available for all of the shooters and the people that participate in the coaching and stuff. That's all through the Patreon page as well. So again, enjoy this episode and all of the following, and appreciate all of you and all of your support over the years. It's crazy that we're above 100 episodes now. Good luck with this upcoming archery season. Take care, and Barebow Project coming at you right now.
What's up, Barebow Project? It's Matty here. I get to host another podcast tonight, which I'm pretty stoked about. Got a good friend of mine on the other end of the camera and audio, Marcus Cooley from Las Vegas. What's up, buddy?
What's happening with you, dude?
Not much, kiddo. Good to see you as always. You and I have become good friends over the last couple. Thank you. We become good friends over the last couple of years, and I thought you'd be a perfect guest for a podcast. You, to me, you mean a lot to me. You and I have been teammates. We've been shooting buddies for a few years now. We've gone head-to-head together. I've been in the coach's box against you as well, which is always fun. But you, to me, are a very, 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 very strong competitor on the Barebow field, 50-meter, indoor, whatever. We played the game, and you, to me, are a super, super strong competitor. And I don't want to say it like and make this sound bad, but I think you get overlooked in a way. I don't think you're a recognizable person, and I say that from a standpoint as you're quiet, you're in the shadows, but you're always creeping up on people, and you're a very, very strong shooter. And so I thought
to say that most people that know me would probably disagree with the quiet part, but maybe on social media, yes, but in person, usually not.
Yeah. Well, I think, and that could be very well true, the people that know you well. But when it comes to tournament stuff, you're there. You're not. I'll just say it like this: I am extremely extroverted. I am chatty. I'm in everybody's face. I want to talk to people. I want to have a good time. You're there. You want to have a good time too, but you're not as out there as I am. But you are a very strong shooter, and you're kind of just always what I seem to be, lurking in the shadows and ready to pounce on people. So while we got you here, I sent you a list of things we're gonna talk about, of course. I'm gonna scroll on and off my question page so I have show notes. And then what I'm gonna do is scroll back and forth to the live feed, see who's on, and see if people are asking questions, and then we'll take those as we go along. But we, of course, have basics to cover. So tell us who you are, tell us where you're from, tell us where you shoot. Let's give us a rundown of Marcus Cooley.
So like you said, Marcus Cooley. I am out in Las Vegas area, Henderson to be exact, if anybody knows the difference. My wife and I have been out in Vegas since 2001. Originally, we're both from the Michigan area, so listening to you guys talk about hunting and the temperatures and stuff like that, I'm like, I don't miss any of that, none of it. I'm out here in 70-degree weather, you know what I mean? I started to I had to layer up and start putting on extra layers to ride the motorcycle right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's as cold as it needs to get. But so that's where I'm at, shooting out of Aces and Arrows out in Henderson. I think it's the best shop in the valley. They take really good care of me there. They also have brought me in as a coach there. I've been coaching there for most of what COVID's been going on, a little bit before that, but pretty much full-time coaching there now, literally 5 days a week there. During the summertime, I'm doing outdoor lessons for our clients there. And so I'm like, that's what I've been doing, that and training and getting ready to go shoot. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. So when did you start shooting? Tell us a little about your past in shooting, when you started, how you got started, and that progression.
So I've probably not been shooting as much as most people think I have. Our kids started, they wanted to try archery back in like 2014. So we, as a family, went and we did a group lesson and stuff. And then they got into it and started shooting for a local team. So now they're going to practices and stuff like that. And with the schedule I was keeping, if I actually made it to a practice, it's like a 3-hour practice for them. And I'm like, I can't sit still and not participate that much. So I kind of started right around 2016.
Okay.
And I actually started out shooting compound, which probably most people don't know. But yeah, I started doing that, and I jumped, feet first into competition right after that. So like my first Vegas was in 2017. But again, I was shooting compound at the time, shooting flights. Just if there's something to do like that, I'm just going to go after it. You know what I mean? I didn't actually start shooting barebow until like 2018. So
okay,
I'm real new to barebow. In respects to people like Demmer, and I know you've been shooting a lot longer than I have. But
no, shooting. Well, for me, shooting barebow, I started in 2021.
Right, but you were shooting Olympic recurve for
I shot Olympic recurve
years before
since
that.
2018. Yep.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of dudes that are at the the top of the heap that have been shooting it for I mean, look at Rick Stonebreaker. I mean, that dude's still dangerous.
Forever. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's been
absolutely.
shooting for how long? You know what I mean?
Yeah, forever.
So yeah, it's still it's still a new thing for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So you said your first tournament was the Vegas shoot in 2018?
Yeah, no, actually, 2017 was the first one for me, and that was
in barebow.
Oh, barebow,
yeah,
because what had happened was, like I said, I shot the compound for I don't know, maybe a year and a half, and I actually started getting bored in comparison to because Amy had already started shooting barebow, right. Those that don't know, Amy Kolie is my wife. She started shooting barebow first, and I was already starting to investigate, learn more about it to try and help her advance what she was doing. So we went to outdoor nationals in 2017, and again shooting compound, but she was shooting barebow, and we were flying back with our coach at the time, and I was discussing about how would I make the transition to I wanted to try barebow, and then Vegas 2018 was the first time competing as barebow for me.
Okay. And how did you do?
That was while we were still doing championship, right? So it was barebow championship. So by NFAA standards, so that's compounds, all that stuff.
Right.
I placed 30th.
Okay.
Out of I don't know 60. I think we had 60 people that year.
Right.
But I thought, middle of the pack. Only been shooting barebow for I don't know, maybe 6 months at that point.
Right.
So,
Yeah. No, that's pretty bold. To go right into a championship division. That's a big
the only division we had.
That's
right?
right. Yeah,
At
that's
that
right. I
point in time,
forgot at that point. Right. Yeah. So
it
then
wouldn't have
I
stopped
think it
me
was
from doing it, but
right.
if there's something else, but
But and it's and some of those compound barebow shooters are putting up crazy scores. I mean, just
yeah,
sub perfect scores. I mean, really close.
yeah. I think I was at that point in time again about 6 months. I think at Vegas I was averaging about a 250 at Vegas, which I mean everybody knows you're going to tank a little bit when you go to a
Oh
major
yeah.
competition like that, but
Right. Yeah. And then um so let's call that Vegas your first tournament like with Barebow. What was next for you? Did you wait another year to do a Vegas? Because we really didn't have anything for Barebow. Like nothing really existed at that time.
yeah. I mean, I think it was right around that time. Was it 2018, 2019? My daughter and my wife are both in the room, so they're my fact checkers to make sure I'm not saying anything stupid. But I think Lancaster was right around 2018, 2019 when we went for the first time, right? So there was probably a Lancaster in there, and I think I made. I can't remember if the first year. I don't think I made it. I don't think I made the cuts the first year, right? Yeah, 2020. I think we made cuts. Again, we're still new to all that, especially the heads up elimination stuff. So really didn't do great, but yeah, the 2019, so second year of doing Vegas, I placed fifth. We were still doing. I think that was the first year of flight, and I get to. I'm in the first flight, second bail. I ranked fifth. Well, actually, no, I was ranked ninth or eighth when we started the third day, right? So I'm on a bail with Michael Fisher, Calvin Smock, and I think it was not too long after Richard Barker had won
Oh sure.
Lancaster, right?
Yep.
So
Top shooters.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm on a bail with those three individuals, and I'm low man on the totem pole on that one, right? And by the time we were done, I was in fifth place. So I was top shooter on the bail that day. It moved me up 3 spots, but that was the best I could do, right? So I was pretty happy with that one.
Heck yeah. So that you obviously had a very quick turnover rate on yourself, meaning going from, well, I'm doing 30th in the championship division to coming out and then doing flights pretty quick soon after, and then being one of the top shooters. If you say we're anyone in the top 10, you're going to be one of the top shooters. So that's a pretty quick turnover.
Yeah. I got a good support group. You know what I mean? Like our coach, when we started doing this, he's an Olympic recurve coach, Chris Hill. He's all about form and technique.
Sure.
Right. So as he's giving my daughter lessons or giving Amy pointers, even though I was shooting compound at the time when we first started, I'm listening. Right. You got something to teach. I'm gonna listen.
Right. And he's a good coach.
He's a great coach. He's put up some impressive people, in a very short amount of time.
Sure.
He doesn't do a whole lot of coaching anymore. I think he's still doing a little bit of online right now, but I'm not entirely sure about that. But I had that, and he actually put my wife in touch with Demmer, like one of the first Vegases that she did. And so now I had a link to be able to be like, hey, dude, I'm trying to work on arrows for Amy or whatever, and that's how I started talking to him, and he'd give me advice on stuff or whatever. And then, man, once I started getting into it, I think he hated the fact that I had his number because I'd hit him up and be like, dude, I'm trying to do this or that or whatever, but he's a cool dude. So he's going to give up the info. So,
yeah. Awesome.
So
go ahead.
No, I mean, that's, you were saying how quick it was. I mean, it was like, I jump in with both feet.
Yeah. And which is awesome. And I'm guessing you've been on that steady incline of doing well ever since.
Yes and no. like I don't think 2019 was decent. It was good enough for me to make USAT in 2020, right?
Okay.
Whatever I did, you know, in 2019, which I didn't do a whole lot of research to figure out what I was doing on that one, but because I probably didn't like the numbers when I started seeing them, basically is what it comes down to. But for 2020, I made USAT for the first time, and you know, and then we're into COVID and stuff like that, right? So
yeah,
I was able to make USAT again in 2021 for the second time, and then at the end of 2021, you know, I know one of the questions you asked me were, you know, or
yes,
you know, was what the turning point was, and the turning point for me in my career was in 2021 in December. I got sick with COVID and wound up in the hospital 5-10 days, or I don't remember what it was, but I actually got out of the hospital December 23rd in 2021. And when we got back out, or when I got out, I tried to go to the shop to try and get back into shooting because I lost like an entire month of training.
Oh yeah, sure.
And you got Vegas and nationals all happening in January for me, and I couldn't pick up my bow. Like I was so beat up that I couldn't even pick it up, and I grabbed a 15-pound recurve that we use for the basic lessons, and that was a struggle to pull back. And but I did compete in nationals. Nationals, I don't know, I shot well enough to get 20th place in indoor nationals.
Where did you shoot that next nationals? Where and what was the gap, the time frame between you getting sick, not being able to shoot, to going into nationals?
Nationals for us is usually we shoot Chula Vista, so you're looking at like the third week of January, somewhere around there. So we're talking about 3 or 4 weeks.
Wow.
I was at that point in time, I was able to shoot like one scoring round, okay, and then fatigue would hit for the second scoring round. And then you'd see the numbers tank. But I did that one, and then Vegas for that year. So now you're talking again first week of February. So we're maybe a full month into it. That Vegas, I was in 12th place. So still not what I should be doing.
Right.
And it showed, like the last day, the exhaustion of all of Vegas really took a toll on me, and the numbers reflected. So
sure.
But coming back from that, I think that was a turning point for me, right? I was determined to get back into the top 10.
Heck yeah.
And to me, it doesn't matter what game it is, right? I don't care if it's indoor or outdoor or field. If I'm going to shoot it, I want to go up against you. I want to go up against Demmer. You know what I mean? Like, let's go. And Robbie, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And that was all, you know, it's kind of funny to me because Robbie used to train with my daughter when they were up in college, right? When Robbie was shooting Olympic recurve at the time. And then when he graduated, he reached out to me and was like, hey, I'm thinking about, you know, switching to Barebow. You know, you got any tips on this or that or whatever? And I'd give him pointers or talk to him about that.
Yep.
And now I'm like, well, that was pretty stupid of me. Like, you know, like now that dude's like, you know.
Now look what that's done to you.
Yeah. You know, now we got another competitor we got to look out for. You know what I mean? But Yeah, so that in 2022 was kind of a rebuilding, right? So February was Vegas, and then we go right into outdoor season right after that because you and I met up in Arizona Cup in 2022 in April, I think. So now we're maybe what 4 months into recovery at that point in time, and I placed second after qualification, and then you kicked my ass and oh my bad, you kicked my butt in elimination.
You could say ass.
So you took bronze, and I took fourth, right? And then I think who was it? I know Chris Garcia won, and who did he go up against?
Rick Stonebreaker.
Stonebreaker. Yeah. So
right.
So that was the top four at the very first
right
USAT that we were allowed to shoot. That Barebow was invited to. Right.
Right.
So that one kind of bummed me out because I'm like, that was close to the podium.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't good. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then SoCal was a few months after that, and I came in first after qualification and took out everybody in eliminations too. So I won first at that one.
Yep, that was the first SoCal we were allowed at, and you won that one.
Yep. Actually, the two that we've had, I've got first place in both of them.
That's right. Yep.
I'm reigning champ at SoCal, so I'm whatever that means. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And then Target Nationals was decent. I think I finished sixth after qualifications, and then took second against Garcia.
Yep.
And then you and I got to go to Santiago later on that year.
Heck yeah.
Right around this time frame, actually. Me, you, Stonebreaker, and Jarrett, right? And then the wonderful ladies that were down there too. So, but then let's see, while we were down there, our team took gold, right? And I took second overall, so for that one. And then we did a little thing and got a couple world records while we were down there. So.
We did, we sure did. The old guy world record.
Yeah,
we got both. We got both, right? Yeah.
We didn't even know about the old guy record until like later. That was so crazy. Like everybody's hitting us up and they're like, "You guys got a world record?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, and then we found out we got both. So I was like,
I had no idea we had gotten any, because we weren't even thinking in that direction of world records until we got home, and then people were like, "Oh, you got a world record." I'm like, "What?" And then I ended up, I have 4. Somehow I got 4. How did I get these records?
It was mildly a successful trip for you.
It was fun, but you did so. We had a great time in Santiago. I remember you and I talking before I even signed up. I remember the invite went out, and I called you up and I'm like, "Hey, did you get the invite?" And I think you had gotten it before me, and I was trying to figure out the game plan, like who was going to go, who couldn't go, and then I was like, I kind of held out because I think Chris Garcia had gotten the first ask because of the way that the national ranking system worked out. They did go, unlike this trip to Chile or to Argentina. I don't think that was we had to qualify for that one, and they went down the list accordingly.
And I think they were using for Santiago. They were using, weren't they using national scores?
They were using the rank.
The Target Nationals. Yeah. So that's how Chris Garcia was up at the top, and then I was I would have been at second, and or whatever,
and I was in fourth. Like I was an alternate based on the NTS rank. I wasn't even in the taking. But when Chris backed out, I said, "Oh, maybe I should jump on this." And then that's when I called you, and I think I called you, and I think not too long after, Jarrett Kellen called me. Anyway, it worked out well. We had a great team. both sides, men and women. We took our gold, and you carried that team for sure. And then you took the silver. Again, awesome. We did. It was just we had a great time down there, and we had a lot of fun. That's where I got to spend a lot of time with you and Amy, of course, and we just we had a great time. Me, you, and Julie and Amy. And then continue. So then that ended our season for outdoor, because we went to Thanksgiving. That was Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Everybody's like, "How are you spending Thanksgiving this year? Are you guys going home?" I'm like, "No, we'll be in Chile."
That's exactly what we did. And then, so the next thing for any of us would have been, depending on what. So you go to California for your nationals. So did you go to you went to your nationals? Obviously, you went to your nationals indoor. Indoor. Where did you do that?
Oh, for 2023.
Yeah.
That one we actually had to go to Salt Lake, because you and I shot.
Oh, you were with me. That's right. We shot in Salt Lake together.
Ordinarily we do. We go to SoCal, because I'd rather go to that kind of weather than go to Salt Lake. Personally.
Heck yeah.
Right. But because you and I shot up at Salt Lake, and that's when we were figuring out Louisville.
Correct. Yeah. So then we'll rewind.
Indoor. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to rewind, because that gets ahead. So then the next thing for us would have been Lancaster. Yeah. So we went to Lancaster.
Well, you went to Lancaster.
Oh,
I haven't. Yeah, Amy and I went 2 years in a row, I think, and then we haven't been able to fit it on our schedule to go back, because it's always like right on top of like either the week or two before Vegas or something. And there for a couple of years we would do Lancaster, and then we come back, and the very next weekend we go to Chula Vista and shoot indoor nationals, and then we come back, and then we would our state indoor championship happened at Vegas. So so we would come back from Chula Vista, we'd shoot our indoor, and then we go and we shoot Vegas, right? So I'm doing like 4 indoor major tournaments in 3 weeks, and then my indoor season's over. I'm ready to go back outside and go and start practicing for target nationals in field, if we're doing field that year, that kind of thing. So
it's the same for me. My indoor takes place within a month, essentially. I go Lancaster, Vegas, and then our indoor nationals. I was fortunate enough to make it again with you to Louisville for the finals. We were the top 8. But we'll rewind a little bit. Obviously, you did Vegas. You lived there. You shot in the championship division with me, and there were 50 some odd of us.
Yeah, in the brand new championship division.
Correct.
And then I think we had well over 200 in the still in the flight category for Barebow.
Or more. Yeah, I think maybe closer to 3, or it's way up there, whatever it was.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and then, you and I got to shoot in the big arena down there. You know what I mean? With a bunch of like major hitters. I'm like, what the heck is going on down here?
It was kind of cool. I thought it would be. We'll talk about our experience about that, but I thought it would be more than what it was for us. And this is not a topic about the Vegas shoot, but we were the first Barebow championship group where we actually had a little more opportunity than other people, but not really. In all honesty, I missed out on the flights group because everyone was together. We were segregated from everyone else.
Right.
And everyone got to shoot in the halls. They stuffed our asses in the basement, and we got to shoot in those dingy old rodeo arenas downstairs. And we didn't get to really. We kind of were put aside. It seemed like here we were paying.
Yeah, for the first 2 days. Yeah, we didn't shoot in the big arena all 3 days. We only got to shoot on the last day.
Right.
Yep.
And then when we were shooting our big day on the main floor, everyone else was doing other stuff, so no one got to see us. I think it was early in the morning, so no one really got to watch us because other people were shooting flights when we were shooting our finals.
Right. And that didn't surprise me in any, you know what I mean? Because it's hard to schedule that many shooters to where, this is going to be the big stage kind of thing.
Right.
But what was kind of funny to me was like being in the big arena and, we're shooting our finals and you know, they spend money on putting the cameras in there and the lights in there and everything, and
Yeah,
nothing.
nothing,
You're
none of
like,
it.
oh, okay, all right, yeah, that seems right.
Yeah, totally seems right, right? But go. How did you do in Vegas? What was your? Do you remember your finish in Vegas or how you finaled out?
Um, I think, oh, Vegas. I think I finished fifth overall. I think
Yeah, yeah,
something
okay,
like that. I know, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because I think I had done well enough where I thought I could have caught fourth or something like that, but there was somebody in like the eighth or ninth place that didn't they leapfrog you and I. Like it was crazy. Like there was somebody
I
that
stayed
jumped
in the.
up.
Yeah, I, I don't know.
I don't know.
I stayed in the top. I finished second in Vegas, so I can't remember. There may have been someone that was floundering, like playing right there with us, and I don't
Could
recall.
have been.
Um,
I don't know.
I
But
think
yeah, it's
so.
something like that.
Yeah, but again, so another top finish for you, and that we say top. I mean, if you're finishing in the top 8 to 10 of everything you do, you're a heavy hitter. Like you're someone to watch out for. You're someone that's again in my eyes like you're right there, like in lurking in the shadows, like ready to pounce at any moment. There's no letting up when Marcus is around. You can't.
When I started doing this, I like I said, I was getting, you know, in contact with Demmer and stuff, and obviously, I mean, he's a beast. Like
Oh yeah,
if anybody says anything about Barebow and you don't know who John Demmer is, then
yeah.
you have no idea what the sport's all about. But
Right.
one of the things that impresses me most about him is that he is an all around archer. Put a bow in
Yes,
his hand and tell him what game
correct.
you're shooting, and that dude is dangerous at any of it,
Yep,
right?
yep.
And when I started to do this, that I want to be the most consistent I can be, regardless of what game we're playing, right?
Right.
Um, you know, one thing we haven't really touched on a little bit, but you know, we're getting ready to go to Argentina. We leave tomorrow for Argentina, and that's a field tournament for Pan Am games, right, or Pan Am championships. And I've only shot field like I think 3 times, right, in a major competition like our field nationals, right? Again, there's
Yep.
not a whole lot of field tournaments for me to go to. So if I'm going to shoot field, it's at field national, right? And I came in third in Darrington in one year. I came in third in I think Indiana or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the last ones I shot was up in Yankton, and I think I was still ninth. You know what I mean? So I made the cut to be able to play a little bit. You know what I mean? Into the
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to catch anybody, but still, you know, it's like I'm going to make sure that I want to be in the top hunt of regardless of what game we're playing. So
Right. Yeah. Well, goal met. I mean, you're there. I mean, that's you. You're always right there. And so, like, if that's your goal, you're doing it. So you better come up with a bigger goal because you've already met
I'm
that
working
goal.
on it. I'm working on it.
Yeah, and we're
Right.
all of us that play the game. We are all trying to be at Demmer level, right? And now with Robbie, we won't inflate this kid's ego too much, but now with Robbie playing the way he's
Yeah,
been
he's still a
playing,
punk.
he's still a punk for sure. But the way he's been playing the last year,
Yeah,
he's making his
without
way
a
into
doubt.
the top. Yeah, and so we covered Vegas. We'll get to our Chile and Argentina in just a bit. But yes, so let's go one more step. Me, top 8. We went to Kentucky for
Yeah,
indoor national finals.
yeah,
The infamous weekend where I tore my bicep and didn't didn't get to finish
right.
shooting. But you and Robbie went head to head. You made it all the way to the top in that. So why don't you lead us through that right there? So right where we're
Yeah.
starting out in
So for
nationals.
me, when like I said, you and I were up in Utah, you know, and we just finished shooting. There were a lot of other things going on that weekend that we don't need to discuss, but um, you and I are sitting there like calculating. Like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, so this is where we're at in the grand scheme of things. Because Salt Lake was one of the last cities to shoot, right?
correct.
Um, so we're sitting there going, oh, okay, so that means, if all combined, whatever, this is, you and I should be in the top 8, right?
Right.
And so get in the truck, and we packed up the gear, we get in the truck, and we're driving home from St. Louis, so from Salt Lake, and we're doing the math, we're calculating, and I'm like, well, okay, so I should be in it. So now immediately Amy starts looking at flights and stuff like that. Like she's the planner. Her and McKenna, they're fantastic. But we come to find out it was this is the second time I've made indoor finals, right?
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
So, and both times this happened. So what I used to do before COVID and before getting into coaching as deep as I am, I do stagehand work. I do live production stuff. And it just so happened that both times that I got invited to go to Louisville, it happened that like Louisville's indoor finals is shot on the day that I'm supposed to be traveling somewhere in the country to go do a show for somebody.
Right.
So now I got to fly into Louisville, stay the night, go shoot, throw everything into, suitcases, and I'm jumping on a plane. Like as soon as I get the award, I'm jumping on a plane and I'm flying somewhere else. So, and thank you, by the way, for helping me pack and everything. Everybody's like, throwing stuff in my case and everything.
It was crazy hectic. It was so hectic.
And so, yeah, Louisville worked out well for me because the people that I was concerned the most were all on the other side of the bracket for me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it worked out. Yeah.
And Robbie, and I can't remember who else was over there, but I mean, I'm like, okay, I'm not taking anything away from any of the other guys that were there, but
Right.
there were only 3. The way I've been shooting, there was only 3 people that I was worried about, and y'all were on the other side of the bracket. So y'all are going to knock each other out, and then I don't have to face one of you.
Right.
And that's what happened. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I got there, and it was just me and Robbie, and
You and Robbie.
yeah, Robbie killed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, we had a good time. That's the interesting thing. Most everybody that's playing that game right there, like nationals at the finals, we all are kind of pulling for each other. We all know each other. Yes, we all want to win, but at the same time, I know, at least for me, I like to see other people win too. I really do. I think being the victor it's a good feeling for you. It's a good feeling for all of us. It just helps with your confidence even more. And it's somewhere everybody needs to be. And when I say, I mean really the top 3 being there is like, oh, look, I can do this. For the longest time, I had so many doubts for myself. I was like, I don't know that I can actually be that person. Even though I had a strong victory a few years ago, I didn't feel worthy of it. I didn't think I was like, I really didn't deserve that. I just felt lucky. But for me, I've had enough consistency now that I'm like, oh, I kind of like being here. It's fun. There's more confidence there now. But and same with you, like you
don't have confidence in your ability is just dumbfounding to me.
Well, it's just, I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm not a psychiatrist.
Matt, you're a beat.
I do okay. But it's good for everyone to be there, and I want everyone to be there. And so it's like, it's a tough spot. I got hurt, of course, but I got to be at the finals. I got to be Robbie's coach.
Yep.
And you and he went head to head. But it's like, sure, I want Robbie to win, but yeah, sure, I want Marcus to win too. It's like I watch Robbie shoot, I'm like, okay, good arrow. Then I watch you shoot, I'm like, okay, good arrow. And maybe I'm not supposed to be saying that. I don't know. Maybe I'm not supposed to be clapping when you get, have good shots too. I don't know. I did it to Demmer too when I was his coach in Lancaster for one of the years last year, I think, and he was shooting against someone, and I'm like clapping for them too. I mean, it's just, I enjoy archery. I enjoy the success of everyone, and so I just get really wrapped up in it, and I want to see everyone do well.
Well, you're there to have a good time, but you're just like Demmer. Demmer said it before, and I've heard other people say it, and I try to say it. I believe in it too, right? Like when we finally get a opportunity to show people, like Barebow's not a joke. You know what I mean? Like we can put up some serious numbers. We can make great shots. You know,
Oh yeah,
one of the things that drives me crazy to this day is how many times you get on the message boards and stuff, and somebody posts up that picture, with like 5 or 6 arrows or whatever, in the yellow, and then there's that one. There's always that one. It's Barebow close. I'm like,
oh
bro,
yeah, yeah,
like you're a competitor. I'm a competitor. Like we want to put on a show.
sure.
When you have the opportunity to let people see what Barebow's capable of,
Oh yeah,
get after it, right?
yeah,
I don't care that Chris kicked my butt. I don't care that Robbie kicked my butt. I'm going to take him down one of these times. In fact, I actually I was pretty happy about this one, right? So I've said this to Chris to his face, so I don't think he'll be pissed about this, but so we're shooting in at SoCal, right? One of the first times, at the USAT and everything. And he looked at me, and this is before we went down to Chile, right? So he's like, when are you going to go shoot in the Masters division?
ah,
You know what I mean? Because I was beating him at that point in time. I was like, I'll shoot in the Masters division when I'm done beating your butt. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
when we're done being competitive in this
yep,
division, I'll shoot in a different division. But up until
yeah,
that point in time, I'm going to come here and I'm going to keep, like,
yep,
I'm going to
yeah,
spoil your fun. You know what I'm
heck
saying?
yeah,
Like,
heck yeah,
I want you and I to go head to head and let's shoot and let's do the best we can. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
what really cracks me up about us shooting down in Chile together is some people may know this, some people might not, but when it came down to us getting the world records, right? That again, we had no idea we did it, right? The internet there was horrible. We're not paying any attention. We're all swept up in what's going on and how we're shooting and all this stuff. But what cracks me up is, so you got you and me and Rick Stonebreaker and Jarrett Kellner down there, right? 3 of us are 50 and over.
that's right.
Jarrett's the youngster. I think he's 46 or 47 or something like that.
He's nearing our age. Yeah, yeah.
He is, but he was the youngster on our team.
That's right.
Right. And so, yeah, we got a world record, but we also got the Masters world record, which it wouldn't. I would have loved to have shared everything with Jarrett too, but he would have cost us a world record. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I never thought of it that way. I never thought of that. Like, yeah, totally.
So I'm like, people like, I don't know. I'm getting off on a tangent about age and stuff, but whatever. You know what I mean?
No, but that was a question, something I wanted to talk about. I didn't send to you in our original notes. I just wrote it down in my personal notes. And it's come up to me, of course. You and I are the same age. I think you're just a hair older than I am.
Rub it in.
But we are technically Masters division, being that we're over 50, and yet you and I and a few others both play in that senior class. And so what keeps you there? Is it just that you're still competitive and you feel like you want the competition, or like is there something in particular that keeps you there? I started to kind of curveball you with a question I didn't ask you earlier, but off the hip, what is it for you?
Again, if I find when I get to the point where I don't think I'm competitive in the seniors division, then I'll think about going in the Masters, right? And it's the master or the seniors division is the biggest pond, right? When you look at how U.S. Archery has this thing set up, right? You know, if you know, you're U18 or U21 or whatever, right? You have a little bit of shelter, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's an unusual thing to have people like Maggie who could shoot in, you know, U21 division, but she comes and she shoots in the senior division because
Right.
she's competitive,
Heck
right?
yeah.
We have a Rich Stonebreaker who could stay up in the masters category, but they have the ability to come down and shoot in the seniors division, right?
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
the biggest sharks, I think, are in the seniors division,
Sure.
right? This is where anybody who's putting up monster numbers can
Right.
come and take it away from whoever else, right?
Right.
And you know, if I don't think that I'm able to compete with those people anymore, yeah, maybe I'll move. But
Right.
until that point, I'm gonna
Right.
keep doing what I'm doing.
Right.
You
Right.
know, what about you? You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
You're right there with me. You know.
Yeah. Sure. For me, it's I use the older adults. I'll just say this: the Masters division people I've seen shoot in the Masters division that are killers. Spanky Brooks again. I'll bring him up because look what he just did this summer. I mean, he beat all of us. I mean, numbers wise, Spanky Brooks. Of course, Rick. We can never exclude Rick. Paul Donahue.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Seriously, like that dude. There's a number of times his numbers have surpassed mine by a great margin.
Right. And
right?
so so for me, you know, what I do for a
Ben
living,
Rogers for the longest time.
Ben. Oh, sure. I mean? Yeah, like, of course. Yeah. But what
Parker.
I do for a living is, you know, I don't work with a lot of athletes, but what I do in athletic training, people need to be athletic to do a lot of things they want to do. I hate to say it, archery to me is not athletic. For someone that spends time in athletics, studying athletics, it's got a very, and again, this is just my opinion.
The curve is different. The curve is different, Matt. I agree.
Yeah. It's not, you don't need to sprint anywhere. Shit, all you need to be able to do is stand up. You don't even need to do that. I mean, we have guys that are, you know, setting world records. Matt Stutzman, for instance, the guy shoots with his feet. So, you know, the athletic ability in archery is limited. Kind of just a side note to my point. We look at these older guys, these older gentlemen who I just mentioned, who can kind of kick a lot of our asses. They're that good. I look at it like, well, if these guys can do it into their 70s, I should be doing it too. I should be able to do it too at 51, right? I want to be able to be just as competitive. And again, Spanky Brooks was the perfect example of this year. How well now Rick, of course, they were right there. They had a great shoot off in the end at our outdoor target championships. But again, for me, it's these guys can do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna, you know. Paul's another. We did say Paul, but Paul's another great example. I forgot he signed up. I think he said he signed up. He told me his story, something like he signed up for seniors. He goes, because I'm a senior. He goes, I thought that's what it was. So he did it by accident. He started signing up for seniors by accident, not realizing that he was supposed to be a master's. He stayed there, and he's still a very strong competitor.
Very much so. Yeah, he was in Louisville with us. He's a top 8 shooter indoors.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know. Yeah. He gave me a run for my money because I had to go through Paul to get to Robbie. You know what I mean? Like he was one of the dudes that I had to keep an eye on, right? While I was in Louisville. So it's a wicked game that we're playing. You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah. So just so we missed one more thing and we kind of brushed on it, but we had Outdoor Target Nationals just a month and a half ago, and our US Open, which you were again right there at the top, strong runner. So real quick synopsis of that.
It wasn't a good Target Nationals for me. I don't know what was off, to be honest, but I was definitely not pleased with my performance there. But you know, it is what it is. You know, sometimes you're gonna show up and you're gonna be ready to go. And I thought I was ready, but I was wrong. Whatever it was that was different this year was not the same as last year. But I'll fix it, whatever it is.
Yeah, you will. I was kind of in a similar boat. I was hurt, so I tore my bicep at indoor nationals, and I was hurt I missed everything in the spring. I missed field. I missed a couple USAT tournaments, and my first opportunity to shoot was outdoor target nationals and US Open. I got 5 weeks of practice. I had been out for several months, and I was shooting rather well leading up to target nationals. And when we got there, I just did not put it together. And I, just like you said, I mean, you did way better than I did. I just couldn't put it together for target nationals. I did much better in the head-to-head matches. I got to shoot for the gold medal match against Demmer, which he rightfully kicked my ass as expected. But you and I were playing, you were ahead of me, I think by a few places, and I was trying to catch you. I think we were on second bail. We were on second bail, weren't we? Second or third?
Yeah. Because it was that one that that was the one I was thinking about, where I was shooting pretty decent during qualification.
Correct.
And I had made up some ground. I want to say I was in 6th place or something like that going into the second day. And I made it into 5th, I think. And I thought I had caught 4th, but there was, I can't remember who it was that leapfrogged me, but the who came out of, you know, I mean, he was like in 8th place or something like that. I can't remember what his name was.
That's right.
But he made it deep into the eliminations too. So it was like, obviously it was a good outdoor for him. I'm sorry, I can't remember what his name is, but
I can't. I'm drawing a blank on it too. But yeah, so either way, I mean, you still, again, you may not have been happy with how you did, but again, you're still sitting there in the top 10, top 8, or better. And
elimination wasn't good for me, but you know, whatever. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. But either way, I mean, so and then we'll not jump ahead, but let's talk about tomorrow, what you're doing this week.
Yeah, so tomorrow we are my entire family's going. So I'm going, my wife is going, my daughter's going, and my son is going. A lot of people don't know, but he shoots also, but he doesn't shoot nearly as much as we do. So he's going and having a vacation while the 3 of us are going down to compete. So we're going down to Argentina to compete in the Pan Am field championships down there. So we get to join people like Fawn Gerard's going to be down there. I think she's already traveling. Christy Johnson, one of the longbow shooters, is going down there. Paul Spice, and you know, there's a few people going down there. It's an interesting mix because, you know, I'm sure everybody's aware that you know, like right now is the Pan Am games going on, so a lot of big names are in Chile and Santiago, where we're shooting last year.
Right. Correct.
So, you know, we're going down. We're gonna go have a good time and you know, go shoot in the jungle, as they say. So hopefully have a good showing down there. You know, it'll be the 4th time I've shot field, you know, in a competition.
Right.
So we'll see.
And this particular place, this is the jungle, isn't it? Like one of the 7 wonders of the world kind of places. Like
they call it like the 8th wonder of the world or something. Wonder of the world or something. So we're going to the Iguazu Falls. It is on the border of where Argentina, Brazil, and I think Paraguay meet. So it really depends on where you're at on the falls. You know, that kind of gives you what country you're in. You know what I'm saying? So it's just right down there in the middle of, basically just in the middle of the jungle. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So you might run into thunderstorms and rain. I mean, it's supposed to be wet week, right?
It is supposed to
Yeah.
be a wet week. We've been tracking the weather, for probably like the last 2 or 3 weeks. Amy is always keeping up to date on that stuff. And, it was supposed to be ordinarily for that area, November maybe has like 8 or 9 rain days a month on average, right? But so far it's like we might have like 2 days of sunshine while we're down there. We'll be down there for like
Oh
2 days.
man. Yeah.
So who knows what we're gonna run into while we're down there. So
Right. Yeah.
hopefully
Now, how
some
do
interesting
you?
critters too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you will. And so what was interesting about Chile when we went? Of course, my wife is an animal lover. They have no animals there. I mean, literally, they're like, yeah, we have mountain lions. We're like, what else? They're like, they really have nothing there. There was nothing to see.
Oh, there was
Llamas.
llamas.
Yeah. So
And
it's
let's
like,
be honest,
but yeah,
we found
maybe.
a cat or two. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Right. Yeah. Oh,
domesticated,
a
but
couple dogs. Yeah, dogs and. Um, but yeah, in Argentina, it'd probably be a different story. Like being in the jungle, you'll have a lot more opportunity to see some cooler stuff, I think.
yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. How do you prepare for field living in the desert right now? I mean, like, how do you practice? And let's say practice uphill, downhill, or
Right.
what?
I do kind of a mixed training. We're pretty blessed here. Like, obviously, where I shoot on a regular basis indoors is fantastic. We also have access to a couple of different outdoor ranges to shoot at out here. One of them is a local club out here, Las Vegas Archers, which is actually up on one of the surrounding mountainsides, and it's got some ravines and stuff like that. And we're members out there, so there's like 2 field courses.
Okay.
There's also a 3D course for us to play on. So everybody's always telling us we need to try 3D. We need to try 3D, and it's like, okay, well, I shoot indoor, I shoot outdoor, I shoot field, I shoot. You know what I mean? It's like when's 3D season? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know
Right.
when we would get that in. But so we've been out since we got back from outdoor nationals. We basically, if we have an outdoor day, which only happens like maybe once or twice a week if we're lucky, we'll head out to the mountain and we're training out there, And again, with our schedules, it's crazy because, none of us necessarily work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday jobs. So if we got, a 4-hour, 6-hour window that actually coincides for more than one of us, then we would head out there. And so, but travel time and stuff like that, it cuts down. But yeah, so, that's what we're doing, is doing a lot of stuff out there. And then if we can't make it out there, bare minimum, what we do is we try to set up as close of representation as far as angles go at the indoor range, right? So it could be, putting a target on as high up on a bale as I can possibly get it, so you're at least having to tilt up to shoot at that one, or, standing on chairs and, shooting at the very bottom of a bale, at 5 meters, whatever you got to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, just trying to get the body mechanics, because field is different. You know what I mean? What you got to do with your body to shoot field.
Oh yeah.
It's not like hugely complicated as far as I'm concerned, but there's a lot of people that they're like, what do you mean? Like, it's going to be at a different angle and, a different pitch and different, it's like, I try to tell people it's kind of like playing golf, but with bows and arrows. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You're gonna,
yeah, sure.
You're going to walk to a different target. You don't know what it's going to be like. And like when we went to, Yankton, 2 years ago, they put on a fantastic course that a lot of people were not ready for, myself included. Like, there were a couple of times where I actually had to change my posture and my shooting technique, because you had to angle down so far that my limb was hitting me in the leg and I couldn't get to the target because it was just that crazy.
It was the crazy course. I was part of that, of course, and it was the nuttiest thing I've ever done.
Right. And I mean, how many times did you, there was like 4 targets where you actually had to use a rope and to climb up to go get your arrows. Like,
yeah, that's right.
Because it was so steep and so treacherous,
Yep.
like you're pulling yourself up to go get these arrows, right?
And muddy on top of that.
Oh yeah, there was a ton of rain that time. Oh yeah, and when we went to dinner that night,
The
like
dust
when that
squall.
storm came in, oh my god, dude, that was so crazy. But yeah, so I don't know about you, but I know like Amy and myself, like we're hugely disappointed in like how the USAT stuff has changed this year, right? US Archery took away field nationals as a requirement for USAT.
Correct. Yes.
Right. So I'm pretty disappointed in that, because I think if for people to make USAT, I really think that you need to be as much of a well-rounded archer as you can possibly be. Right. Indoor, target, field.
Right.
I know it's not easy for everybody to be able to play all the games, and I get that. But I think they did a disservice by taking that away. But and I mean, I think the numbers at field nationals this year reflected that. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was quite a curveball. No, and that's okay. And that we all get on it at some point, especially when it comes to trying to figure out USA Archery and how things are run. But you're correct. Like, so that was a curveball for us, where they removed that, and I think they just kept it down to three USAT tournaments, or 4, however it worked out. In the
2.
point system.
Yeah. So now it's indoor nationals, target nationals, and 2 out of the 4 USAT.
Gotcha.
So you still got a 4. So I have to have 4 tournaments to be able to qualify.
The really sad part of the USAT to me, the really sad part is, in a way, yes, you're the top players, but for us as a team, it's all for naught, because we, as a USAT team, we really don't get to play any games regardless. It's like we have to, in Barebow, we qualify for our own teams, right? So in other words, we'll have, so like we're going to have a 3D team trials coming up in 2024. Yeah. The USAT team doesn't get to go. It's whoever goes and qualifies for that team, and the top 4 shooters get to go, or 3.
And I kind of get that one. I mean, 3D is not, again, it's another game that is very specific. So I kind of get that, but I mean, they have in the past, at least a couple of times. So like when we went to Chile, right, that was actually the 3rd time that I had been invited to the Pan Am game or Pan Am championships like that. The 2 years prior to, I was invited because I was on USAT, right?
Oh, okay.
So they were, but those 2 were in Mexico, I think, and like we had to back out of it because the interest level to overall, because it was during COVID, so it wasn't going to be a very populated tournament. And so, for a lot of people, it was going to be, you're going to go down and shoot your individual event, and there was going to be no teams, right? Because there wasn't enough people going to those events. And so everybody just started pulling out. And so when we got to go to Chile, I was, definitely thankful for that, because that was the 3rd time that I was invited to go to one of those tournaments. But again, that one was based off of what we did at nationals, whereas I think the first 2 years were based off of USAT rankings.
Correct.
Right.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah.
They, it seems like every year we get a different new set of rules, but hopefully it keeps evolving to something good.
I know. No kidding. Right. So are you ready? I mean, are you ready to, for this big week coming up?
Yeah. I'm good. I'm ready. It's, again, we put in the training. In fact, right before I got on the call with you, we were out in the yard, just kind of not shooting, but just looking over the targets to, for judging distances and stuff like that, which, whatever we got to do. You know what I mean? I still got gear in the room that I've got to take apart and, pack up for tomorrow morning, but,
Gotcha.
We're ready.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And aside from preparing for a big tournament where you're leaving the country to go shoot internationally, how much would you say you practice or shoot or, get ready for events on a regular basis?
I I would say probably on most weeks I probably shoot maybe 2 or 3 days out of the week. Again, I coach so much that eventually
Right.
it does start to take over what
Mm-hmm.
I do for as an athlete to train, but that's just an excuse. You know what I mean? I try not
Right.
to let it happen, but from time to time it does. So if I know the event's coming up, then I start to push a little bit harder, and I try to make sure I'm making the time for it. But I also get stretched a little thin. I have a hard time telling clients no, like I can't.
Imagine
I got to protect that day. I got to protect that day off so I can go train.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like we just got everybody's talking about hunting season and stuff. Like I got a bunch of clients that are hunters. You know what I mean? So even though outdoor season is over, I still from time to time go out and do outdoor lessons with hunters to get them dialed in for what they got to do. So
yeah. And then do you ramp it up? Like, let's say when Vegas comes around or another indoor nationals, do you ramp up your training? 2 to 3 days a week, a lot of times for most people won't cut it, especially being at the level you're at. So, do you step up that how often you shoot?
I do. One other thing, again, I try to learn from other people as much as I can, if I find it to be a valid source of what they're talking about. When I'm really getting ready for a tournament, when I know I'm getting close or whatever, I'll put myself on a shot schedule, kind of like what Jay Kaminsky's talked about. You won't hear me throw that one around very often, but that's something that I think that if anybody from Barebow needs to take something away from that source, I think that's a fantastic one for people to do. There are rhythms that you can put your body into to get you ready to go shoot tournaments. It's not just, hey, can I put, I just need to keep shooting X amount of arrows every day and I'm going to be, the next best, thing. I think there are some rhythms and things like that, and I'll drop into them. But sometimes it's still difficult, but yeah, it's a little easier for indoor for me to do that than it is for the other stuff.
Yeah, and I think that goes for most people. Like field. You brought something up earlier. I've never been. Prior to going to World Championships, I'd been to 2 field tournaments, which is crazy, right? So we had this thing called the National Roundup that NFAA put on. That was my first experience with field, where we did target and then their indoor 50-meter and then field. And I was like, okay, this was fun. And then we got to go to the team trials in Yankton again, and I made the team. And I was like, okay, now what? And then I got to go to World Championships. We don't have field tournaments around here, and we live in the mountains. Like I live in a place where they could have that stuff. We have the space and the places to do it, but it's just not a thing. I think it's most people's favorite game is field. Once they play it, they're like, that was my favorite thing. I think that's
without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. I know Robbie really enjoys it. I know Demmer really enjoys it.
Oh yeah.
And I think Demmer's even said before, like that. I think he said at one point in time that really shows a test of a well-rounded archer is to be able to go do that, right?
Absolutely,
because it's not just about, oh, can I hit 50 meters or can I hit 18 meters? You got to be able to hit all of them in between.
Absolutely.
And for Barebow, trying to keep a rig tuned well enough to be able to do all those distances is something that a lot of people don't really think about. You know what I mean?
Oh no! Oh yeah.
But it is what it is. So.
It is what it is. There's a lot that goes into field, and I think you're right. And like what you said, Demmer said, or what Demmer did say, and you repeated. You do have to. That's the game you really got to be on top of. You got to be well-rounded. You got to know how to adjust and adapt. And if you're going to be at the top, you got to really put in your time too as well. So we had a question, I believe it was asked by Melanie Marshall. I think she's the one that asked it, and she wants to know what your process is. So you can let into as much or as little as you want. What is your personal shot process, going through anything, shot to shot, whether it's indoor target, outdoor field? What do you got?
I mean, I don't know that my shot process is necessarily any different than anybody else's or what I describe to clients and students. You know, obviously, you know, indoor, outdoor, there might be a little bit different, but it's truly pretty basic. You know, it's I guess I try to get into the right mindset and make sure, because I've realized, you know, over the last few years, physically, you know, shooting an arrow really doesn't, it's not that much different from arrow to arrow. To me, it's about mentally what you're doing differently to make sure that your body's staying in tune with what it knows how to do. So for me, it's, you know, I get people, some of my clients and coworkers and stuff like that, they think it's kind of funny. I get a little OCD about stuff like, you know, every time I go to grab my bow and, you know, I got an arrow knocked on there before I do my crawl. And the first thing you're going to see me do is I'm going to push my glasses up, right? I'm going to make sure that these things are in this. It's kind of like a reset button for me, right?
I get it.
I'm just going to, okay, now I'm ready to go, right? And, you know, then it's crawl, you know, anchor, aim, string blur. Now I'm really starting to focus in on, once the aiming portion's done, I'm trying to really key in physically, what is my body telling me? Am I pushing my wrist into that bow? Am I getting my back muscles engaged? You know, stuff like that, you know. And then as soon as that shot's over, it's reset and get to the next one. You know what I mean?
Right.
Trying real hard to not fall into that trap of, man, that shot could have been better, or, you know, or that was a great shot, and, you know, trying to maintain the emotions of things, right?
Right.
So
yeah. You know who Kim Woo Jin is?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kim Woo Jin, and that's his thing, right? He always
I
sets
know.
his glasses.
I know. I've seen it. I've seen it.
That's it. It's like they always see it. There's been videos about him just like doing this over and over again. But that's the thing, is like, right, set yourself. That's part of you. It's like people with a hat on.
Yeah.
I don't like to shoot with a hat on. I hate shooting with a hat on. I only wear the hat because of the sponsors. It's up to me. I'm like, no hat. I don't. The hat is so, because you're always messing with it. It's something to mess with. And again, for someone with who shoots with glasses on, right? For you on your head, it's got to be just in the right spot, so you don't hit it with your string. It creates a distraction, you know.
Yeah. Well, what's funny to me, so like, you know, I know you're doing coaching and stuff like that, right? So
yeah,
I don't know how much you've noticed this, but I mean, we have a ton of clients over at Aces and Arrows, and it's sometimes shocking and sometimes disturbing to me to find out how many people don't take care of their eyesight. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we start everybody out at 10 yards, right? And how many people can't see their arrows at 10 yards frightens me. I'm like, how did you drive here today? Like, if you can't see at 10 yards, how did you get here? Right. But so a lot of people, you know, I preach this at the range when I'm teaching people. When I find out that there's a visual thing with somebody, right? I'm like, you've got to take it if you want to see what's going on. Like, you really got to be detail oriented with that, right? Your glasses are made to be sitting on your face in one specific spot, right? And so if they're not where they're supposed to be on me, because I'll be honest, you know, we already know I'm old. You and I are both, you know, we're 50 plus, right? So these aren't just single layers, right? This is a multi prescription, right? So I want these things in the exact same spot every time, so I can see perfectly what it is that I need to do, right? I guess I'm probably OCD about a few other things, but that one I'm really bad about. So,
have you ever tried contacts?
No, nothing about that amuses me. But I'm I'm old and I'm fussy about some stuff. But yeah,
No, okay.
I know people that do.
Yeah, and I think for me, if I had to wear, my eyes are going bad. Like I'm fortunate that I don't need glasses. Yeah, when I did notice when I was turning like I'd say 48, 49, my right eye, the relief has changed drastically. Now I'm 51. My left eye is insanely good, but my right eye, which is my dominant eye, I've lost that relief, right? So where things used to be clear close up, now they're clear at 15, 16 inches. And what's crazy is almost honest, Marcus, like every 6 months, it's like, it's getting worse and worse. And I would think that because I know I cannot wear sunglasses when I shoot, that nose bridge piece gets in my vision. I think I would have to go to contacts personally if I did have to wear glasses.
Now,
or get laser correction or some shit.
There's some of that. I mean, everybody's facial structure is different, right? But I've gone down this road with several clients. I've had to do this with Amy and with my daughter McKenna recently. So what I was doing before COVID again was production work, and I was always in really dark environments. What I did for a living required my vision to be spot on. There was no question about what my vision needed to be in order for me to do my job accurately, right?
Right.
And so I've gotten to be very detail oriented about that. And so when I start working with a client about with glasses or whether or not you should shoot with sunglasses or whatever, because again, I'm freaky about my eyesight. I'm very sensitive to light, so I'm going to shoot with sunglasses, right? There's no question in my mind that that's what's going to happen if I'm outdoors. So I'm going to make sure that I've found the glasses that give me that,
of course,
comfort that you found to be a distraction or even blocks for a lot of people. It took us, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, 6 pairs for me to be able to help my daughter find a set that works for her to be able to shoot with, right? But it can be done. You just have to be in the right environment. You got to be able to try it. You got to be able to do it. I mean, talk about glasses all the time, but yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad you've obviously found that and made it work for you. I've seen you shoot with glasses and sunglasses both, and I just can't do it. It's hard. It's difficult for me, and I want to be able to wear glasses in the sun just to protect my eyes a little more. It's just something I just cannot do, and I don't like wearing a hat on top of that. The string hits my hat. It's a distraction, so I just try not to do it. I can keep you here all night. I'm gonna look and see if any questions have come in. I'm gonna give everyone a last minute or two to try to get some questions in if they do. Any tips? Actually, before I ask you about tips, do you want to mention anyone, like who sponsors you? Do you have any sponsors? Who do you shoot? What do you shoot? What kind of bow? I know what you're shooting. Why don't you tell the group what you're shooting? And
equipment wise, the only sponsors I have are Aces and Arrows. They take good care of me. I all my gear comes through there, but I shoot the gear that I believe in. Right.
Gotcha.
I shoot a CD riser. I think it is a fantastic riser. Calvin and Dwayne are fantastic people. I like their product. I like them. Right. I do have Hoyt limbs. I'm shooting X Tours on one bow and Velos on the other. I do have both or 2 bows back up in a main. A biter plunger on both, a sniper on both. The number of conversations I hear and see online about the sniper is just actually dumbfounding. Literally, I've put probably 100 snipers on people's bows and whatever. Strings. I've started making my own strings. There was a dude here in town that used to make mine. And he wanted to retire, and he was like, "You should just make your own." I'm like, I don't know when I'm gonna have time to do that, but okay. So started doing that. Arrows or X10s for most everything I shoot. The last few years, it's been the only arrow I shoot. It doesn't matter if it's indoor or outdoor or field. Somebody's trying to tempt me to shoot some other ones for indoor, and I may, we'll see.
Right.
I started playing with them, and I mean, so once I get something tuned for whatever tournament I'm going for, I don't mess with it until that tournament is over. And so, I've been messing around with other arrows at the shop without making any changes to my bow at all. And they're putting up really good numbers. So who knows?
Good.
You might actually see me shoot something different for indoors, but you see.
For indoor, yeah.
As soon as this tournament's done, we'll find out.
Right.
Yost tab, always.
Yep. Yost.
Also, yeah, Yost people they're also fantastic. And then I think Neil Frana with Bow Band.
Sure do. Bow Band, yeah.
He makes a fantastic product too. He's a good friend of mine. And again,
super nice guy.
I don't endorse stuff that I don't believe in. If I don't want to shoot it, then
it's a good attitude. Yep.
So yeah, I'm not like you said, I kind of fly under the radar for a lot of people. I'm not the one on social media all the time. Sponsors. Yeah.
Yep. And that's okay. Yeah. Neil just sent you a love heart. Thanks, Neil. We got you. We all like Neil.
Awesome.
I like Neil's dog better than Neil, but whatever.
Well, who doesn't?
That dog is beautiful. Anyway,
it's kind of like Scott Safranca, you know what I mean? Like, everybody likes Big D. He just shows up at the tournaments too. You know what I mean?
He sent me a post not too long ago. He's like, I really like that bow. I said, I'll trade you for a dog. Anyway,
he's got one or two clubs, yeah.
Yeah, he does. Any tips? You got any tips for a beginner or even intermediate or?
Tips to me, for the beginner, the intermediate, it really doesn't matter where you're at in your station of learning. I can't stress it enough, man. You've got to get into seeing a coach somehow. Today's day and age, there's no reason why you can't have a decent coach. I know you do a little bit online. I do a little bit online. I know Frank does stuff online. Elton, they all do it, right? Having somebody watch you shoot can make all the difference in what you think you're doing,
right? Or
think what you need to be doing,
right?
And for me, it's also Elton at Outdoor Nationals, asked questions and about what I thought about stuff, and sometimes I say things I probably shouldn't, but know where you're getting your information from is the biggest thing to me.
Oh yeah.
The internet is a dangerous place as far as I'm concerned when it comes to information.
Yeah, that's true.
If who you're asking hasn't achieved or done anything that you're trying to do, I'm not sure that that's a valid source for information some days.
Right. I get it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I totally do.
But yeah, definitely get into some coaching. I've had the opportunity to coach a lot of coaches, right? Both in archery and other shooting sports. And those that don't know who I am and what I do for a living, or in archery in general, when they first meet me, I don't think they really think that they're going to learn anything from me, right? And then usually within about the first 15 minutes, somebody who thinks they know 10 times more than what I could possibly even glimmer to give them.
Right.
They go, really? I'm doing that? Like,
right.
I should, oh my gosh. Yeah, I had no idea. I'm like,
right.
Being in front of somebody that can point out, and it's not, you got to make sure you're going into the right mindset. You know what I mean? Like, are you going in to learn, or do you want somebody to blow smoke?
Right.
I don't, whatever. So,
right. Yeah. Yeah. And I do think that
there's buttons for you.
No. Oh yeah. No. I can have a whole topic of coaching coaches who they are, where they come from, what they do, what they teach, who's right, who's wrong. I mean, that's a never-ending topic, right? I mean, that's
For sure.
something that, and it's fun in a way too, because it's got a lot of dynamics. But no, great points, great things you brought up there, and it's really not hard to find. It's not hard to find a good coach in most states, in a lot of states, decent people. East Coast, West Coast, Central, where I'm at, South, where you are, Texas. There's
Yep.
guys everywhere. A lot of good coaches. It's just a matter of finding them. And I think a lot of times people are just intimidated and they don't want to reach out. And then once you start talking to people, I always kind of get like I keep meaning to reach out to you, but they just don't know how to ask or what to ask,
Right.
And then so that's a factor too.
And you're
anyway.
probably right on that one. Like, they don't know what to ask or what to ask for.
Right.
That's why I'm saying get in front of a coach. Just book a lesson with somebody.
Right.
Get the time. Let them evaluate and see.
Right.
They're not nitpicking. They're not trying to create the issue.
Right.
They're trying to fix a problem that
Absolutely.
you may or may not know exists.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, cool, my man. I'll make sure. Let me check last time, see if anyone has any more questions.
Yeah, ain't nobody want to listen to me.
No one wants to listen to you. Well, we had a good amount of viewers. I don't want to keep you. I'm going to wish you very good luck this week, and to the whole U.S. team going out to Argentina. You guys are going to have a blast. I know my guys are well prepared. I've talked to a lot of the longbow people. I've worked with some of the longbow people. You, of course. I mean, there's a great group, Fawn. There's a great group of people going out, and I think the U.S. team's going to rock it. I think you guys are just super prepared, and I'm really excited to hear what goes on down there. I wish I could have been there, just not in the pocketbook. It just can't happen multiple times.
And if you stop hurting yourself, that might help.
And that's too. I'm still not shooting. I'm shooting. People ask, how's shooting going? I'm like, yeah, it's right here.
Yeah.
I'm playing with this thing as much as I can. But you guys are going to do awesome. I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to hear how everything went. Good luck to you. Thank you for being here. You've been like I said, someone on my mind for a long time that needs to kind of come out into the limelight and have a good showing and let people know who Marcus Cooley is. And you did a great job tonight. So we appreciate you, Amy, your whole family, your cats. Baby? What's your cat? No, wait, I'll think of it.
Beckett.
Beckett.
Yeah. I'm surprised he hasn't come up here for a little.
Beckett. And you have another cat with a girl's name. What's
Haley.
Haley.
She won't come near the camera. But it's funny, like somebody was asking me, like, oh, were you gonna do they heard about the interview and they're like, were you gonna sit? And I'm like, I'm gonna sit in my recliner. That's what's gonna happen.
There you go.
Like, oh, so the cat can get in the view, because he gets in. Amy has to be on a lot of Zoom meetings and stuff, and you'll see this little head just kind of poke up, and I'm like, whatever. But,
I love it.
Oh.
Anyway, all right, my man. Thank you, and thanks for being here. Good luck to you. Be safe travels. And
well, thank you for having me, dude. I do appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like you're again, there's certain people that are way better at the social media stuff, and as much fun as I'll poke at you for some of the stuff that you post out there, like I'm like, all right, well, somebody's got to stick their face out there in front of it, and I'm glad it's one of the good guys out here putting out some information.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, man. Well, you guys have a good night and safe travels.
Thanks, brother. Take care.
All right.